Chapter 19. Looking for Returns, Gambling and Investing. There's a difference between gambling and taking a reasonable risks, including some investments. In gambling, wealth isn't earned or distributed on the basis of work, service, or personal need, but by chance. The goal is not to be productive, but to get lucky. But in God's plan, it's hard and wise work, not chance, that brings financial profit. The book of Proverbs says, "Lazy people want much but get little, but those who work hard will prosper." Work brings profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. Proverbs 13:4 and 14:23. Is gambling okay? A bumper sticker reads, "The lottery is a tax on people who are bad at math. You have a smaller chance of winning a multi-billion-dollar lottery than being struck by lightning." One of the great ironies of gambling is that the vast majority of people lose money, while the few who win discover money doesn't make them happy, and often it actually ruins their lives. One study reported that 6 months after winning the lottery, you are likely to be no happier than if you had been paralyzed in a car crash. God says clearly, "You must not have any other god but me." Exodus 23. To trust in gambling is to worship an idol. Only Jesus should be our master. God tells us to work for a living, not play the odds and seek shortcuts to wealth. Proverbs 28:19-20. God is sufficient to supply all our needs. Philippians 4:19. Ads for the Illinois lottery posted on a billboard in Chicago's poorest neighborhoods read, "This could be your ticket out." It's unethical and an offense to God to tempt the poor to squander what little money they have. Dispensing false hope merely exploits them. Card games that involve gambling have become very popular in the culture at large. Many Christians now view gambling as innocent fun. For some it probably is, but for others it's a doorway leading to addiction, obsession, and self-destruction. Gambling is a destroyer of marriages and families. How many people who start gambling as harmless fun with friends do not stop there but end up in ruin? And how many Christians will one day regret having introduced friends to gambling at their innocent weekly poker game? God will reward his children for working hard at any honest job, earning money, using it wisely, and sharing it generously. Can you picture Jesus rewarding you for the time and money you spent gambling? What will be your reward for introducing others to it, including those who became addicted? Our goal is to please him, for we must all stand before Christ to be judged. We will each receive what we deserve for the good or evil we have done in this earthly body. 2 Corinthians 5:9-10. How does investing differ from gambling? Although gambling often violates biblical principles, there are other actions in life that involve risk but are still legitimate. Scripture doesn't directly teach that we should invest, but it does provide illustrations of investing, including real estate ventures. The honored woman of Proverbs 31 goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings she plants a vineyard. Verse 16. Jesus speaks illustratively of investing in such ways as to gain financial returns. Matthew 25:14-29, Luke 19:12-26. His injunctions to invest in eternity by laying up treasures in heaven rather than on earth put our earthly investments in perspective, but do not preclude them. Can we be wiser about where we invest God's money? Investing doesn't simply bring profits to the investor. It also profits the business in which we invest. A Christian should avoid investing in any enterprise that makes a profit from immoral practices. Mutual funds, today's most common investment vehicles, distribute their investors' money in a wide range of companies. Many Christians don't evaluate the source of their mutual funds' income. This certainly isn't easy when there are so many companies with so many names. Most Christians would think it was wrong to invest in Playboy magazine, but the Houston-based internet company Telscan specializes in data retrieval tools that it uses in partnership with Playboy's websites. Consider Paul's words to two separate churches about being careful regarding partnership. Don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness? Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Instead, expose them. 2 Corinthians 6:14, Ephesians 5:11. It will not be easy, but if we were God's money managers, we should take responsibility to investigate and choose carefully where we put God's money. Though I've withdrawn from one mutual fund because of companies it supported, I realize the other funds we're invested in may include immoral holdings. I don't have the time or expertise to do extensive research and have only acted on information I've received. Most of us need to rely on others for this. To find out more, I recommend Kingdom Games by Dwight Short and Good Returns by George P. Schwartz. Some of our retirement funds are invested in a company whose guiding principles state it avoids investing in companies that are involved in practices contrary to Judeo-Christian principles, in particular abortion and pornography. Some years, this particular fund has underperformed the Standard & Poor's 500, and in others it has outperformed it. We have stayed with it in the low-performing years because we believe in its commitment to never fund what dishonors Christ. Have you received and heeded wise counsel before investing? A Christian investment firm held a seminar at a nearby Christian college. They presented a surefire investment opportunity too good to pass up. A couple in our church, along with many others, invested their entire savings. Not long afterward, the Christian investor and his Christian company disappeared with everyone's Christian money. This is tragic yet common. I've heard the same story with different places, different names, over and over again. As the Christians, we want to believe the best and can be gullible as well as greedy. When a Christian businessman tells you he has a surefire investment that will multiply your money 5 times while you sleep, you might ask yourself why he needs your money. Why haven't savvy investors and knowledgeable lending institutes lined up outside his door to put their money into it? Likely because it's high risk and, all things considered, a very poor investment. We should seek a number of counselors, not just one, when we're making important decisions. Plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. Proverbs 15:22. The point isn't just quantity of counsel, but quality. Advisors must not be persuasive but truly wise. Better to hear the quiet words of a wise person than the shouts of a foolish king. Ecclesiastes 9:17. Because wisdom begins with fearing God. Proverbs 9:10. Usually these counselors should be Christians who are walking with God and living by his principles. Never assume this based simply on nice-sounding words. No matter how strong somebody's profession of faith, the counsel and ungodly should never sway us. Psalm 1:1. Having weighed the scriptures and sought judicious counsel, we should seek God's wisdom. He promises to give to those who ask. James 1:5. Many people sincerely desire to make profitable investments now and give substantial amounts to God's work later. I have often been asked, rather than give up now, shouldn't I hang on to the money, hoping my investments will do well and I'll have more to give God's kingdom in 5 or 10 years? In some cases, this appears to have been wise, but my observation over many years is that countless good intentions are never realized. That leads me to say this. If you postpone giving, aren't you postponing God's blessing? If your heart goes where you put your treasure, are you putting your treasure on earth, not heaven? Shouldn't you give now to be sure the money goes to God's kingdom? Considering the market may plummet, your heart may change, or you may die, by holding on to this money now, are you willing to take the risk that it will never end up where God wanted you to put it?